Welcome to the Social Media Church podcast. I'm Nils Smith, joined by my co-host Aaron Magnuson. Aaron, it is so good to be back with you.
Oh, I was just going to say, I am sure whoever hit play on this episode as a listener, hearing Nils's voice open it up instantly, they're hooked for the rest of the episode. It's been too long, but I think that's the beauty. I just want to take like just 30 seconds here. That's the beauty of this podcast.
Yeah.
There's been multiple co-hosts. It's all people who are in the ecosystem. So it's like this podcast that's just been handled so delicately by so many different people. Nils is obviously the constant anchor there after it was started by DJ, but I love it that it just keeps going no matter which one of us is able to be here, and we're not able to be here together as often as we'd like, but it's just always providing value, and it's just the constant podcast that's always
there. This is a community, at the end of the day.
Yes.
And Aaron, you've become family, obviously. Jay Crandon,
Yes.
I'm just thinking about it as you were mentioning it, like Jay Crandon called me yesterday, and Jay, I'm going to call you back. If anybody knows, I don't answer my phone. It's not because I'm rude. I'm just not good at answering my phone.
I don't either. Don't call me. Hit me up in the DMs first,
I'm actually getting better at the voice memos. That's my new thing that I'm learning. I'm slow to that game. But it is so good to be back, Aaron. We, practically I've been in Texas for the last month. I don't know, you can probably hear my voice. I've had a few meetings and I've had to go slow. I got COVID. So I'm another one of those. And yeah, so I was vaccinated.
We should just title this "Nils Got COVID," and we'll see what the click through rate is.
We're coming in New York City podcast. We're actually going to do one on COVID for clickbait purposes, of course.
Of course.
Give
a little plug there. Nils's wife Katie runs an awesome podcast, Coming to New York City. Everything. I've had multiple people talk to me about New York City. I know a couple friends who are planning trips to New York City since it's kind of opening back up. I said there's a podcast you got to listen to find out anything, stuff to do, the right things to look at, all of those sorts of things. If you want to live there, it's a great podcast as well. Places to eat. Go subscribe.
Good plug.
To Coming to New York. I'm going to plug it because you're not, and I understand why. It's tough to promote your own the Smith household stuff. It's a great podcast. Yeah. Anyways,
I'm lucky because my wife makes it a great podcast, and I get to just
ask
her questions, and she answers questions. And we love New York City. We love talking about it. And I love Jesus, and I love social media, and I love talking about it. That's where this podcast has been such a unique platform, and our podcast has expanded as so many listeners know, and we've talked about obviously here to the conference, and and we just incredible the hundreds of pastors, church leaders that join the conference, the sessions, and I keep Aaron, I have and I'll admit this because I shouldn't admit this because people will be mad. But
everyone listening,
it's okay. When I have back end access, I get to go back and watch some sessions where we tried something unique in it, and really only made each day's worth of sessions. We did 3 days available, like Instagram stories, 24 hours.
Totally.
I still, you look back and you're like, was this a good idea, a bad idea? I think it was a good idea. The engagement was so much higher because I think we limited that with the same psychological mindset of why people, watch their Instagram stories, because you don't want to miss that. But we've also heard from so many, can I get on-demand access? What, I wish I could. And so, we're going to talk about that. So that's a little teaser for what's coming in this podcast, because you and I have been like, we want to get people access. How do we do this? What can we do? So we're going to talk about that in this podcast. But Aaron, what else is going on? What catch me up on your world?
Man, well, I do want to say, I go into that piece about just kind of limited access, the 24 hours. I'm so inspired by this community. I love it that we're starting this podcast with just talking about the community, because it really is built by the listener base, whether that's through conversations you and I are having in Facebook groups, on Twitter, on Instagram, people replying. And there was so much buy-in that I remember during the conference, even looking back at all of the comments on the videos, people talking about hopping in. Man, I just got done with my 9-hour workday. I could not miss this. And I wanted to dive in. And so I think it did accomplish exactly what we wanted, that there was a level, and we talked about it right from the beginning. The reason we attached a price tag to it is because anytime we put capital down, we're more likely to take action upon what we learned. And here at Social Media Church, all we care about is providing you with new ideas so that you can take action to spread the gospel farther and wider. And the conference did exactly that, inspiring people to do that. And we also knew that the conference was not going to be the end. In many ways, that was just going to be the beginning. And so we're excited to have this conversation today. But my world, news flash, it's hot in LA. And I was down in Arizona visiting family for a little bit as well. And it's a little bit hotter down there. But we were by a pool, so that was a good time. But this is just such an interesting season in the life of church and digital and social media and all of these things. And for some of us, we're kind of out of COVID. Others of us, we're still very much in the thick of COVID, depending on the part of the world that you're tuning in from. That is going to look different for you as well. And I feel like COVID has opened Pandora's box, and there was so many things that people who didn't have capacity to look at before, whether that's maybe people leadership in the church, pastors, even communicators who were teaching on the weekend, had to look at how are we communicating the gospel in a new way. And so Pandora's box was really opened during COVID, in good ways and in bad ways. Some people very infatuated with what they found in there, and other people terrified to death and can't wait to shut that thing back. And so if we thought there was a lot of confusion and voices needed to guide and lead social media church in 2018, I almost feel like there's even more of that in 2021, heading into 2022, when more people than ever are familiar with what's going on. But the conversation, and I know this is true of you as well, Nils, but the conversations that I've been having with leaders here within my own church at One and All, as well as just people at churches around the world, there is a feeling of more questions than answers. And how do we strategize around this? And how do we do this and that? And there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat as well. And it's, this is going to work here and it's not going to work there. And what is the digital form that's true to your church? And so I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of excitement and new as well as confusion in this season in the seat that I sit in.
I think that's so I think that's the tough part for every church. And one of the things that I often hear is just give me the formula, tell me what to do. And the reality of social media is there's not, I think we speak about best practices different times, and there are, so like, don't get on MySpace, like
get on Instagram.
But it doesn't mean you should be on TikTok. Right. Some churches should, some shouldn't. Some churches should be on Twitter, some shouldn't. And I think that's where we really want this brand to be this place where church leaders can come. And not every podcast is going to be relevant to every church leader. But we do hope that it pushes you. So some churches are all about online church. And I think COVID forced every church to, in many ways, be an online church. But some, they're literally just want to reach people locally. Right. And I say just, like, this is not a small just, but they're really like laser focused. That's a healthy thing. And then some want to reach the whole world, and they want to go multi-language. And so I think it's complicated. And in some ways people are trying to figure out technologies, and they're just, and they're hurting, they're just tired. And they're weary, and so this is such a crazy season. And I think, Aaron, you sit in, you and I sit in different seats. Of you sit in your pastoral role in your day to day with the church, and then you have that context. I sit in a consulting role where I'm with a lot of different churches, and I think and so I'm dealing with people that are kind of scattered, and you're in the trenches.
I'm the scattered
one.
That
And it's a lot, man. I mean, this is a crazy season, but I think it's also a lot of opportunity. And it's a lot of eyes being opened up. And I think it's eyes being opened up to social media has more flaws than I think people realized, and it has more opportunity than I think people realized. But I think, yeah, I get more and more excited about how God has positioned us in
Yes,
these conversations to help church leaders navigate. And we've seen it in our podcast downloads
totally.
growing, and just the engagement that's happening of this conversation. I think has always been
Yeah,
important, and I've been grateful that people choose to
totally.
listen. But I think that it's gone from like important to
Right.
critical, and we take that with a great weight of let's make sure we're getting the right people on here, that we believe church leaders need to
Yes.
hear from in this season, and that's going to challenge them to think differently, or to understand a new platform, or understand a new opportunity, or build their ministry in a healthy way. While I'm going on this tangent, I got to say, Aaron, one of the podcasts I've enjoyed
Oh yeah.
listening,
Let's hear it.
as a listener
Nils
the
does
last month or
listen
so,
to his own
uh,
podcast. This is great.
and I'll
Yes.
text you, whenever I'm listening to it. But the one with
Yeah.
Stephanie
Yes.
Leith,
Alter Live.
from
Yes.
Ultra Live, and you titled it with the ultimate like
Yeah.
clickbait: "The software church online has been waiting for." One of the things I loved about that conversation is, at first it's like not every church is wanting to do online church. Well, they were like, nope, but every church needs, like, it's more of
Yeah.
a Zoom
Right.
replacement than anything. I love that good technology is being built for the church in a very
Correct.
thoughtful way. It was just a great conversation. It inspired me, and I love
Totally.
new technologies, but I think it it inspired me even how churches, or how, basically this
Yes.
person, leader
Yep.
saw a need in her church and went and met it, and now it's helping
Totally.
hundreds of churches, in a very real way. And I get excited about what I see happening there. And I've got a call set up, like after the podcast.
Yes.
I linked in Stephanie and was just like, thank you for serving the church, and loved hearing the story. And she and I are going to
Yes.
jump on a call, so I'm eager to hear more about the platform. But so there, I think too, people will sometimes say there's good sales pitch for that, and I'm like,
That's right.
we've never done
That
sales pitches
that's
here. We just genuinely
yes.
care, and we want to bring
Yes.
conversations in here. Anyways, I'm excited about so many of the things that are
That's right.
happening. Churches that are leaning in, technology companies that are being created to better serve the church from good
Right.
people, that are well intentioned. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited, man, and I'm excited about what we're
Yeah,
about to announce here
totally.
too. I say we don't do
This is good.
pitches.
This is about
We're
to be
about to do
sales
a
pitchy,
sales
but
pitch.
it's for ourselves. You can trust it. Yeah, you can trust us. We've been pastoring you this whole time. I just on that, one of the positive things. So Pandora's Box being opened. Some people scary, some people infatuated. They can't get enough. One of the things that I saw that is lasting, that from COVID, that has just been fantastic, is COVID hits, instant cooperation and collaboration amongst church leaders. Instant.
Mm,
How do you do
yeah,
this? Well, I don't know how to
yeah,
do this. The amount of emails that you and I are getting of just like, we were all in our own lanes, in a lot of ways competing with the church down the street. And COVID, from my vantage point, just brought this level of humility of, I don't know how to do this. I need you. We're all in this together. This is about the capital C church. This isn't about my church. And that has lasted. So while some of the questions have come back of like, gosh, how do we do this? And what does this look like?
yeah,
What has lasted, and the clarity that has been brought, is we are way more collaborative as the capital C church and as
yeah,
people who are trying to spread the gospel than ever. And you see new technologies that are coming out for the churches so that that can happen at scale. And Life Church has been acting like this for a long time, which is just so beautiful. But it's great to see everybody come in, and the questions that we get, and the Zoom calls that we've been able to hop on, and that us individually have been able to hop on as well, with just people emailing us, how do you
yeah,
handle this? And just like, yes, I would love to sit down and give you 30 minutes of my time to help walk you through this, because there isn't a secret recipe that my family gets that your family doesn't get. And everybody wants my chicken and nobody wants your chicken. The internet has taught us that it is
yeah,
too big of a space for us to be competitive. We must be collaborative. And so that's going to lead into what we're going to share, because that's been the best part for me of COVID, is seeing the collaboration in the church, and that we're not competing against each other, and that YouTube wants all of our voices, because some people want to hear it from Nils, some people want to hear it from me, some people want to hear it from a guest that we had on, and now they're going to go connect with them. And
Yeah.
that's been my favorite part. And so kind of the also to that before we jump in with the Stephanie, on this podcast, we bring on people that Nils and I are for. And it's so amazing what people like Stephanie have done
That's a good word.
creating new technologies that are going to benefit the church. But there's also 5 other Stephanies that was creating technology that's subpar, that's trying to benefit them, not you. And so it
Yeah.
is getting more difficult. Like the church is getting sold to more than ever, right? You've encountered this problem. I mean, the amount of cyber data security emails I get of how my church is at risk is unbelievable. And those people, I promise you, and Nils is going to promise you, we will not bring on the podcast. And so I just want you all to know that this is a podcast in a space that's beneficial to you. And you can trust that what we're bringing in, the voices we bring on, are people that we back, and they're not paying us. We're not getting a side benefit outside of their time and great content coming on. Everybody who contributed to to the conference, they did that on their own time. We're not getting endorsements. We're not getting kickback from their book sales or whatever. This is about
Yeah.
benefiting you guys, and
Yeah.
it always will be that. So with that, Nils, let's sell them.
Let's yeah, and you say sell them, and I think at the core of those that listen to this podcast, what that really means is let's serve them. We created this podcast to serve the body. I always say that I'm learning out loud, and we, when Jay joined the podcast, we were literally sitting at his kitchen table. And we were saying, wouldn't it be cool if we could just put a microphone at this table and others could, or I think DJ said that, like, if other people could listen in on this conversation between Jay and I, who were pioneering online church together at the time, a decade ago, and that would be a gift to the church. And so we learned out loud. And that's, and we've done this, and we put, honestly, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy into this community that has been self-serving, and that I've met a lot of people through it. But at the end of the day, the heart is to serve the body and to help a lot of churches. You're talking about family. I am always thinking about my dad. My dad pastors a church of about 100 people in Texas, at a smaller Methodist church. It's really an average sized church, a great church. And but he's got to do. He doesn't have, at his church, and they got a Mevo camera. And I was like, oh, cool, you got a Mevo, and it's helping them with their live stream setup, and it's so fun to even think through how can, when we work with Transformation Church, or a very large, other large churches that have a lot of resources that can buy fancy cameras, and then my dad's church, who's saving up money to get a Mevo, and I think that we want to be able to serve and give strategies and learnings for every size church. And so my agency that you and I work together on Amplify Social Media, we've got a team of about 20 employees, and we serve churches.
Which was built. This team was built when you were the online pastor at a church, right? Like, just incredible community. This is all about online church, guys. I just can't stress that enough. This is all about online church. From the biggest churches to the smallest churches, our stuff, the messages, the voices, all will benefit the church in that way.
Totally. So we at the end of the day have a heart to serve churches, and I think at the core, I want to serve more churches, and I think our agency has been able to serve large churches because that's who can afford an agency. And I have thought through how can we better, and in many ways we've tried to do it through the podcast, but I think we learned with the conference that when we gave basically bonus content, and we asked people to pay money, that those hundreds of leaders, there's thousands that listen to this podcast, but there are hundreds that committed to the podcast or to the conference. They leaned in, and the response we got was 10x what I think we get here on the podcast. So we're grateful for the response we get here. But we learned that if we give more, it's going to impact more. And so we basically want to take the experience we had at the conference and just serve at another level. Now, the conference was all about knowledge, learning in community. And we're going to add that to what we're going to offer here. But we want to go way beyond that. So we're launching a program
brand new
today. It should be live on the site. And so if you go to socialmedia.church, you'll see it there. It's called Social Media Church Partners.
Yep.
And we're asking you to be a partner. And in our agency, when a client signs
That's
up,
right.
we don't call them clients, we call them partners, because we partner together in ministry. And we desire to partner with you in ministry. We desire for you to partner with each other, and we're better together. And what that looks like, just to get practical, is we're going to offer
Yep.
training just like we did at the conference. We're going to offer some
Yes.
competition that we have found, and I found through the
Yep.
years, just helps motivate. And we're going to do a lot of giveaways.
Yes.
We're going to have fun. We're going to have community where we're going to grow and learn
That's the big
together.
one, Nils. That's the big one.
We're gonna
Grow
basically
it, locking arms,
just
grow
lock
and learn
arms.
together. Like that,
Yeah,
that is what has come out of
yep,
COVID and what is so necessary in the gap. That's what honestly, that's what we hear all the time. Like
totally.
I feel like I talk to a new online, and I'm doing air quotes if you're not watching on our YouTube channel, online pastor. And I don't say that because they're not online pastors, but there's just a lot of different titles. The person that sits in the online seat where they're like, I don't know anybody else who does this. And I'm like, well, that's because they're out there, and there are a lot of people that are doing that more than ever. But there's just this kind of housing that needs to happen, and this desire for who else is doing this in the trenches to the capacity that I'm doing. Who else can I connect with so that I can have a relationship outside of just trying to slip into somebody's DMs? And that's the community we're creating. And Nils, I just a question, because I'm sure people are thinking about it. Yeah, but I'm in the and this is not to knock these groups, but there is a big distinction between all of the Facebook groups that you and I are in, Nils, as well as our listeners, because we're all there. There's a big distinction between those communities and the communities that we're talking about here at SMC Partners. What's going to be kind of the big difference that people can expect in those two communities?
Yeah, so I mean, really, it's and I was
Yes.
realizing all the C's involved here.
Yeah.
So always being a Rick Warren fan, I think we're
Yes.
talking community, we're talking about challenges. One of the things that we're going to do coming out of the conference is we'll do a challenge that
Yeah.
we're going to give away an Oculus Quest headset, or we're going to give away a whole
Yep.
video production studio. But we want to challenge each other and kind of
Yep.
vote to just help lift each other up and learn from each other. We're going to create content. And so just as our agency creates content for clients, we're going to create content, templates and things that are going to make it easier for any size church to literally copy and paste in many ways. We're going to create
Yep.
templates, resources you can use of training volunteers, resources you can use for, when you've got media sign-offs and things like that you need to have of take, we're going to have like a blank name, put your church name on there and use it. We want to, at the end of the day, just be
Yes.
your, hands and feet with you and in support of you, so that you can focus on the ministry. And we want to
Yes.
do this in the most efficient way possible for you. And then we want to even, I mean, at the end of the day, when we're
Yes.
together, there's a lot of value that gets created. One of them, I think,
For
is going to
sure.
be software discounts. Now, we haven't pre-negotiated those, but when we have hundreds of
That's
church
right.
leaders, we can go to an organization and just say, hey, can
Yes.
all of our partners
Yep.
get a 20% software discount? And so we want to use that collective community
Yes.
to do more. And so we're at the end of the day
That's
asking
right.
you to partner with us, to partner with each other, to go and let's just push towards growth together and growth
Yes.
spiritually, numerically, but let's lean in to the opportunities that exist.
That's
So
right.
Aaron and I want to serve you. My team
Yep.
at Amplify Social Media wants to serve you. And so we're opening up this new
Before you get
program
into
to
the
you.
price, Nils,
So Aaron,
one of the things we haven't mentioned, and this is
yeah,
what I've gotten the most, and El Michelle, if you're listening, it's you that has hit me up the most. El Michelle was one of our speakers at the conference, and there was lots of people in her network that attended the conference. And this is, I'll share what they said about it because it's their words, not ours. They said that this should be a mandatory course people take before they get into any social media,
mhm,
uh, anything inside the church or outside of the church, which I thought was great. But Elle's like, when are we going to be able to have access to this after the fact? I need to see these videos again. And this community is going to give you on-demand access to all of the speakers that attended the conference, and any future conferences, you will have access to that. So you will never be left saying, Aaron, I'm not able to make those dates. Is there going to be replay access available? Or, man, we watched it once, I want to watch it again. So that is a big selling point of this community as well, as you're going to have access to all of those content creators and probably have access to them to ask them questions and all of those sorts of things. Again, partners, our resources are your resources. And we can do that to a certain extent on the podcast here. We can do that to an even greater extent in SMC partners.
Yes. So we are making the, if you want to just buy the replay, it's gonna be $89. That will be on the website. You can buy that. But if you become a partner, you're going to get immediate access, and it is not going to be $89. So Aaron, we are pricing this in a unique way. And we've gone back and forth because at the end of the day, we want to resource you, and we want to reach you, we want to engage you, and we want to make it as affordable as possible. So we are starting the price at $19 a month. So that's less than $1 a day. And you're getting coaching, you're getting community, you're getting content. We want to basically just give this away to you if you're willing to just jump in and trust us. And we've built the trust over the years. We hope that $19 a month just makes it a no-brainer for you to jump in. So we wanted to make the immediate price for those that are all in as cheap as possible. And you will lock in that price as a partner for life. What we're going to do is increase the price every 100 new partners by $10. At least that's
as people are opening the web app on their phone right now, listening to us talking, trying to get in there.
Yeah, and we don't want to increase the price. We would like to keep it, I think, light. But what we also know is that when people pay money, they're in, and so I believe those people that have been listening and that just jump right in, you're going to value it even if you're just paying $19 a month. But I think some others need to be paying $39 a month, $49 a month to value it the way. And I believe we're going to be providing $5,000 a month worth of value based on what I've experienced owning a social media marketing agency, and what we're going to give you churches have been paying me and my agency thousands of dollars every month to do for them and to do with them. And now we're going to be doing this for literally
and it's the same and by the way, everybody, for those of you listening, it's the same content, because the same guys that are in on these calls where churches are paying thousands of dollars are going to be with you. We're partners. Like, partners is the perfect word, Nils. Like, that's what this is. And I guess you'll just have to hop in the community to find out just how true that is. Or you can be skeptical on the sideline and never find out. But this is a community. We need each other.
So that's it. So if you're listening to this, it might be $19 a month still. Might not. It might be $39. I don't know. We don't know what to expect. We didn't know what to expect with the conference, but we were blown away by the response, and can't wait for people to jump back into the replays of the conference. And if you missed it, then this is your chance to get access to it. It is, Aaron. I think I love that, as maybe even creating a certificate program for people that go through the conference and watch every session, because it really is such phenomenal content. The people who partnered with us on that, and I think about people that people would consider to be competitors. Like at the end of the day, like we all have a lot of us that were thinking about Brady Shearer and just so many different people in that, that shared that are serving the church so well and doing unique things, and that all locking arms. And Ryan Wakefield did an incredible session, Nachi Lazarus, and just so many just incredible, Nona Jones, who, brought, they're just, I could go on and on. Every session was so good. There really wasn't a weak session in the whole thing. And so I can't wait for people to get that. At the end of the day too, another thing I want to say is, if you jump in to Social Media Church Partners and you're like, I didn't get $19 worth, or I didn't get $29 worth, that's just money back guarantee. 30-day money back guarantee. You could just basically say,
standard.
I didn't like it, cancel it, refund your money. We don't want people paying.
Can I be honest, Nils, knowing you, so this is for knowing you for however long I've known you, and over over COVID, got to know you quite a bit better, and starting this podcast. If you come to Nils after a year and you're like, I can't believe I've given you this much money. Nils would probably give it all back to you after a year. he would do that, and I would do that as well. We're
100%.
interested in your ministry being amplified. We're not interested in your money. Those things go hand in hand, but we're interested in the gospel getting spread.
And to be clear, I think what I'm interested in, and what I think think people are interested in is time. I think at the end of the day, I want to value your time. So if you tell me that it wasn't worth
That's right.
your money, then you're also telling me it wasn't worth your time. And I can't pay you that back.
Yeah.
And so I'll pay you your money back happily.
Right.
Not happily. I'll be
Hesitate.
sad too, but
Yeah.
I will not. I will not. I don't want to hesitate on that. But I want to value your time, and I want you to value my time and Aaron's time and Nona's time and any other leader that we bring in to serve and support this community. We want that's why we want people to pay money, because they're going to value it more and they're going to do it. And I just imagine, Aaron, you and I talked about, like, I want 1,000 churches to sign up for this. I want 1,000 churches that are saying, I'm committed to lean into social media. And then for us to be able to collectively say, how many people did we collectively reach this Sunday? Because we're locking arms, because we're partners. And I just get fired up about what that looks like. And when we get churches all over the world, I mean, this is Great Commission coming together. I mean, Facebook has over 3 billion users.
Yeah.
There's 7 billion, there's 4 billion people, now on social media. There's more mobile devices than there are people. Like, this is such an incredible moment in history. My pastor, Krishan from Hillsong, preached on Esther, this weekend, and it was such a moving message. And we're living in such a moment in history for the gospel. And I'm grateful that church, that if you're listening to this, that you're allowing us to speak into you. And that's where I just want to take it to the next level. Totally. I want to give more of me. I know you want to give more of you. And we just want to serve and support, and we want to help churches reach more people with the gospel and grow more people and disciple more people. And because it's not just evangelism, there's so much more to social media. And that's even just, if all they do is get the conference and then they just go listen to that every month, it's going to be the investment. Or if you get it for a month, to listen, subscribe for a month, binge and then unsubscribe. That'll be worth it. I just want to serve churches, and that's why we're doing this. And I've been honored, to partner with all the people that we have, and that's really, so we're creating an official.
We're just making it official. It's been a partnership since the beginning, since DJ started this podcast. We're just making it official and putting a ring on it, and gonna do this stuff. So all of the links. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So socialmedia.church is where you go.
Same brainwave here. You guys are going to be talking like us.
Links are going to be somewhere. So socialmedia.church, probably social media church / partners is probably going to be the domain. I'm making it up right now. But socialmedia.church, you'll see it there on the homepage. Go and sign up. We don't know if we're going to, how long we'll keep. I know we'll keep it open all of September to sign up. So if you're listening after September and it's closed,
get on the email list.
We will have times that we'll reopen it. We're figuring this out. We are, at the end of the day, are kind of following God's lead here. And so we are opening this up September 2021 and believing that churches are ready to partner with each other and with us to go to the next level. So I'm so fired up. I'm nervous, Aaron, just like I was nervous at the conference. And
that's it.
This has been such a labor of love, and I'm ready to just take it to the next level.
Can't wait to find out
how many more churches we can help. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening to this episode of the podcast. I can't wait to see you in our partnership program. I can't wait to talk to you again on the next podcast, Aaron. It was so good to catch up. We'll talk to everybody again on the next episode.